All motorcycle clubs are full of cowards. You won't find somebody in a motorcycle club who is not a coward. Hell, I have a hard time finding a real biker these days. How easy would it be to get rid of literally thousands of Hell's Angels? Well, it'd be a matter of one IED, one well-placed bullet, or one hydraulic ramp. You get to see how many people will show up if the leader of the Hells Angels dies, don't you? How many bombs would it take to get rid of 7,000 funeral goers? It'd be pretty easy. Of course, as we all know, IEDs do not deserve to kill. Wouldn't be too difficult to put a couple extra headstones. Wouldn't be too difficult to drop a whole bunch of fletchets via drone. Hell, it wouldn't be that difficult to make a hydraulic cannon or a pneumatic cannon. Something you just pop a release valve. Area of effect. The sniper is a much cleaner tool. Why is that? Well, let's say you have one bad guy, 10 hostages, between blasting the son of a bitch with an area of effect weapon and using a sniper, you're going to save a lot more lives using a sniper. For me, my rule's about killing people. I do believe that killing people is wrong. Now, there are certain situations where I do believe it is wholeheartedly okay. If someone is being targeted by criminal organizations or by women, they should have an automatic choice to opt out of any situation through assisted termination of life. Tim Beeson wasn't man enough to threaten me himself. He had to threaten me over the internet and over the phone, over and over. And then, of course, I'm some sort of a bad person, apparently, for wanting that to stop. For wanting this drug salesman to leave me the fuck alone. Who made Natalie Bollinger do the drugs that she did? Obviously not me. Who gave her those drugs? I know quite a few of her ex-boyfriends. She liked people that were older than her, just like most of your retarded-ass daughters. I also know that literally every single one of them was a drug salesman. Every single one. Cash was a drug salesman. For certain. Tim Beeson as well. Now, there's some pieces of evidence that I'm going to get my hands on. Natalie Bollinger's diary is pretty fucking important. So we're going to get that. What else do we need to get? A real goddamn advocate. A real human being who actually gives a shit. Without a friend or family member willing to actually step up. And it's not that none of them are capable. It's that none of them care. They show this because they will make time as long as they're getting paid. But is it going to be time for helping me how I need, or is it time for them to argue? If I'm paying you to help me with something, you need to help me with that something, not try to turn everything into an argument and make everything about you. Let's say you work at Safeway. They pay you to be there for 8 hours today, right? And all you do is you walk into work, you clock in, and then you go straight to your boss and argue for 8 hours, and then clock out and leave. What have you done? Let's say you're hired in the bakery, and you are specifically hired to make and decorate cakes. Now, you have a little bit of bookwork that needs done, a little bit of organization stuff first thing in the morning. Takes about 5 minutes. Now, let's say every single day you're going in there arguing with your boss. And of course, what are you doing? Shuffling papers literally all day long. You've never made a cake because you're busy shuffling papers. All you're doing is shuffling papers. You're not doing anything with the papers. You're just sorting it and resorting it and resorting it. And you know what? When your boss says, hey, you need to stop. You need to actually do what it is that I'm paying you for. I haven't paid people to make false statements. I haven't paid people to blow people up. I haven't paid people to kill people. People who promised to help me how I needed. And then they're always telling me that they don't have enough money. They don't have enough money. You don't have enough money to tell the truth? Are you fucking insane? It doesn't take money to tell the truth. And all these people telling me about their safety issues with the cops and otherwise. I don't give a shit. I care. I really do. But I don't care more about your loved ones than I care about mine. And none of them should have had to deal with this. And neither should I. The thing is, nobody was going to do anything except take advantage of me. That's what they had shown my entire life before Natalie was killed. And for certainly my entire life since. A lot of people have helped me out in little ways. But those little ways waste so much of my time and theirs that could be productively turning in predators, showing the truth, and stopping the abuse that forces me to go back to these places again and again and again. Having to go to TFCC, respect until you fucking clean that place up. It's fucking dirty, and I'm not talking about uncleanly. I'm talking everybody who fucking works there is dirty. For the police to force me to go to web sleuths because they didn't want to do their jobs. For them to pawn me off on therapists who sent me around in expensive fucking circles for a whole year before Natalie was killed. 3 different ones, by the way. And 2 different caseworkers. Fucking hell. Nicole Peralta was one of the therapists in Nebraska. Nicole Jarrell and Jeff Ritter were both therapists in Colorado. Then there was Kara Heller, the case manager in Colorado, who worked with Jeff Ritter. Then there's Tamara, who worked with Nicole Peralta. All 5 of those people are people that I had to go to try to get help stopping the abuse by Natalie Bollinger and her friends like Tim Beeson, who couldn't threaten me in person. He wanted to threaten to do all sorts of shit, but never once did he ever try doing it in person. He just wanted to be a little bitch and do it over the phone, do it over the internet, make fucking fake accounts, and harass me over and over again. Oh yeah, and threaten my friends and family. And threaten me with a biker gang. Not sure if you noticed, but if I wanted people dead, they would be. I'm not just YouTube educated. That ain't shit. Sure, it helps you to learn a lot of stuff, but you got to be able to go through and know what's bupkis and what ain't. And that comes down to real world experience. Well, you guys pretend that I was, well, like I grew up in a goddamn bubble. No, my mom was a coke addict. My dad was a coke addict. It happens. I've never been pretty, so I gotta basically do everything based on my own wiles. I also got a severe handicap, and that handicap isn't me. It's your assumptions, your bias. Just because Ted Bollinger, the pedophile, and Tim Beeson, the pedophile, and Michael Allen Albert, the pedophile, and Chris Kurth, the punk-ass little bitch, just because they all ride on bicycles, does that mean that I should go out and kill all hell's angels? That I should go out and kill all the Mongols? That was some people's idea. Hey, Sean, you know, if you kill them and their entire family, people may fault you for it, but you know those son of a bitches ain't gonna touch your friends or family. And although that is very true, that doesn't improve the situation or solve the problem. What that results in is a bunch of dead bodies. A bunch of those people who didn't have nothing to do with it. It's not their fault. And now you're making enemies out of them. And what's to stop them from going after your family while you're in prison? What's to stop them from killing your friends and family? What's to stop some vigilante from killing your friends and family? All because you were never allowed any of your rights as a human being. Never allowed to show anything in court. Prevented illegally from going to your court dates. Why is it that my predators kept charges held over my head for literally years, knowing that they were bullshit? Because they knew that they could abuse their positions of power and their friends to prevent me from ever having a court date without a friend or family member who gave a shit. You have to give a shit. None of these people who said that they'll make time actually give a shit. Because if I had a fucking cunt, at least one of these people would have fucking gotten off their ass and taken it fucking seriously. Just because I'm not trying to kill you doesn't mean that I'm not after you. And I am willing to serve the rest of my life in prison to see to it that these pedophiles, rapists, murderers, and assholes are locked the fuck up. The law works if you make it work. But people who work for the United States government don't actually have to work. Especially not if you're a male. Especially not if you're disabled. Especially not if you're homeless. Tim Beeson should have left me the fuck alone. Yeah, his friend Dakota Cooper, too. Is this what the Hells Angels promote? How about the Mongols? How about the Banditos? Rebecca Gross Nickel Foley, she's got some family ties with the Hells Angels. And she has said time and again that it's not the motorcycle club doing it. She wasn't raped by the Hells Angels motorcycle club. She was raped by individuals within the motorcycle club. She does not blame all Hells Angels for the pieces of shit who did what they did to her. She blames those people in specific. And she says their names loud and proud. My personal opinion is that the Hells Angels, regardless of how fucked up Rebecca is, should probably clean fucking house. Rebecca was just a little girl when they did these things to her. Her predators are still free and they still have access to her. They also play on the fact that she's homeless. She's not young and pretty anymore. She's been beaten a lot. She's been raped a lot. She's been human trafficked. Also, we get to see how nearly all of these motorcycle clubs have had a lot of members arrested for being involved in human trafficking. Are the Hells Angels a terrorist organization? How about the Mongols? How about the Banditos? These aren't just motorcycle clubs. These are criminal organizations. Is there racism within the Hells Angels? How about in the Mongols or the Banditos? You'd only have to blow up one or two rallies before all the Hells Angels got the point that they're not able to have rallies anymore. If just one Mongol decided that he was just going to fly one drone over one crowd, and we're not talking about $100,000 drone or $1.5 million drone. We're talking about a $400 drone. And that, well, it is a significant amount of money, isn't it? But not when you consider that they've got the money for MAC 10s, AK-47s, full auto AR-15s. I mean, really, the American people stand zero fucking chance against any of the actual terrorist organizations in this country. And all of them do the same thing. They hide behind their families like cowards. They hide behind their motorcycle club like cowards. They'll come and threaten you because they think they can get away with it. Am I being harmed by any motorcycle clubs? No. Hell's Angels ain't fucking with me. Banditos ain't fucking with me. Mongols ain't fucking with me. Now, I gotta give the however, there are certain individuals within each of these organizations that have independently fucked with me. Independently threatened my friends and my family. And I have chosen independently to go after those pieces of shit in specific and attempt to do so legally, while all of my legal rights are non-existent. When it comes to the Hells Angels, the KKK, the Mongols, we get to hear how the FBI and all these other organizations want to charge them as a group and classify them as criminal organizations and hate groups and so on. But then they want a completely different set of rules, don't they? When it's police officers doing it. Police officers can do all this criminal shit that you accuse the Hells Angels of, and the Banditos. And the Mongols. And the Aztecs. And the Mayans. Yup. All these different motorcycle gangs that we tend to blame the entire motorcycle club, don't we? Saying stuff like, oh, well, maybe not every member knew what was going on, but all of them benefited from it. Alright, so if I go to a church, and I'm eating food at that church, and then the police bust in and raid the place, and arrest me for eating that food because it was stolen. You see what we're getting at here? Rebecca Gross-Nickel-Foley, despite all of the goddamn abuse that she's gone through, she knows the names of her predators and she remembers the acts they committed. There is no statute of limitations when you rape a child, whether you're a Hell's Angel or not. Obviously, the law isn't going to do anything about it. Obviously, there is no street justice being served. And obviously, the Hells Angels aren't doing anything. How many of y'all think that it's okay to duct tape a bunch of BBs to a homemade hand grenade and try to solve the issue that way? How many of y'all think that it would be a better idea to set up a situation where we get all the Hells Angels together in one place at once and then just set off a bunch of poisonous smoke grenades? A lot of different poisons too. Or for somebody to rent a crop duster, fill up the tanks with a whole bunch of poison oak leaves, poison ivy leaves, grind them up real good, and put them in an aerial sprayer with some liquids. See, it wouldn't just interact with the exterior. What you've done at that point is made an aerial spray out of it. People are going to have to inhale that. It does the same thing to your insides as it does to your outsides. How many of these ideas did I get from other people? of them. People got all sorts of good ideas, but they're always wanting to bounce these ideas off of people. Like, hey man, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? Hey man, you know what I was just thinking? No, what were you just thinking? No, Pinky, that is not a good idea. Pinky and the Brain, Pinky and the Brain. One is a genius, the other's insane. Now, some of y'all might be asking, with all of these criminal organizations involved in human trafficking, me being against human trafficking, why am I not going after these people? Why am I not killing these people, as many of you suggest? Well, same question for you. Why are you not doing so? I'm at least speaking up. I'm also speaking up about specific predators. Hell's Angels ain't giving me no goddamn problems. It ain't the Hell's Angels that are a bunch of little bitches. It's Tim Beeson, Ted Bollinger, Chris Kurth. You know, there's also the getting hallucinogens like acid. And I'm sure you've heard 1,000,001 different dispersal ideas for that one. When I talk about RPGs, there's people that I know who have great ideas as Nebraskans, but don't understand that you need to not use substandard materials. Let me show you something. Well, I guess it's buried, so I can't. I got a pipe in here that's 40 millimeter. It could be used to make an RPG too. No, it couldn't. No, it fucking couldn't. It's not just substandard, it's shit. So when I got friends who are telling me, you know, we can't really make an RPG 7, but we could make an RPG 2. Oh, no. You could make an RPG 7 real easy. Real fucking easy. You can make the projectiles for it real fucking easy. There's one complicated part on it out of the whole goddamn thing. One. That one part might be complicated for you to make if you can't use your imagination, if you don't understand how clamps and dies work. The point here is that I don't show this stuff because I'm in love with blowing things up. There's a professional standard, and then there's your home-built bullshit. When you have great ideas, do you see the aftermath? I mean, you get to see all these Russian tanks exploding, shooting their turrets hundreds of feet up in the air, literally. And all that fire that flies out, but you don't see any of the bodies, do you? Ugh, gross. It's the same thing with your homemade explosives ideas. Yes, it can be done. No, it's not a good fucking idea. Now, why is it that there's people in all these other countries that, even knowing what a bad idea it is, even having lost friends to their own creations, why is it they continue to do so? because they feel that adamantly about freedom. Real freedom. Not this bullshit we adopted from the Nazis. What's the difference between the United States and Nazi Germany? The United States realized that there's a lot more profit if your slaves don't end up dead that quickly. You spend all that time training your slaves up to make stuff. When they die after a month or two, you have to start over from scratch. If we're not allowed to blame all cops, all judges, and all public pretenders, you don't get to blame all white people, all black people, all men, all women, or all motorcycle clubs. If the dad who raped you is named Ted Bollinger, you go after Ted Bollinger. When the father who got drunk and beat on you is named Ted Bollinger, you go after Ted Bollinger. Life is hell, isn't it? On the bright side, I'm not wearing my halo today. Nor any other day. Because I'm not an angel. I'm a human being. Anyway, I got a lot of stuff to do today. Hopefully my anxiety for making this video is down enough that I'll be able to make some of the calls I need to make within the next hour or so. I gotta stop the video though. I just want to say, Tim Beeson is a sick piece of shit, but don't be afraid of his motorcycle club. I seriously doubt that those people would support Tim Beeson knowing what he did. Just make sure we put his picture out there for the world to see. You want to make me a target? Fine, god damn it. That's the way it is, that's the way it is. But if you're going to pretend I'm a predator, I'm going to show you the actual predators. You kiss my ass. Good to be rid of you. Thanks for coming to visit. Stay out of trouble or don't get caught. Remember, you are your brother's keeper, and your sister's too, and no victim left behind.